Got a minute yet. There we go. 5 o'clock.
Who's Mark?
Mark. Morning, buddy.
Ready, Bill?
Yep.
At this point, I'd like to open up this special meeting of the town of Brunswick. And at this point, we'll open up the public hearing. Any visitors wish to speak? Just come up, state your name, where you live.
I am Kathy Betzinger, 1 Valley Drive.
Um,
Hello, everyone.
Is that on, Bill?
Yep.
Are you picking it up?
No, flick the switch there, Kat. Put it at the top.
How's this?
That's good.
Okay.
Got you now.
And I'm sorry,
Kathy Betzinger, 1 Valley View Drive.
Thank you.
I do have a couple questions. I didn't get a chance to read over the actual law. I understand that this meeting has been convened to just hear the public or to actually hear and then vote? Is the council going to vote today?
That's up to the town board. There's a special meeting was called, as well as a public hearing. So the board can act on the law tonight.
They
if they
can?
so desire.
Yes.
Okay. I do have a question. Pat, good to see you sitting up there. When did you become deputy supervisor, and how did that happen?
January 1st, 1998, Phil appointed me.
In 98?
Yeah, I've been deputy supervisor since then.
All right, but that's while you were a city council, a town
But
councilman,
you don't have to
correct?
be a councilman to be deputy supervisor. It's an
Oh,
it's an
okay.
appointment
I'm
of-
just curious
it's an
how
appointment
that
of the
happened.
supervisor.
As deputy supervisor, he runs the meeting, but he has no vote.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's on.
Okay. I was just curious, because I came to a couple of the meetings, I didn't see you here, so
I'm here on most of them,
okay, all right.
but I sit out there.
Okay, just curious. So I have two questions, actually maybe a couple. So what is meant by certain supplemental defense and indemnification benefits?
They're in the law. They're in the law that was drafted.
Is the defense and indemnification for criminal action authorized by the state?
Yeah, well, in the sense that there's a state statute. It's
Section 17, correct?
No, 18 for local officials.
Ah, okay.
17 for state employees.
Okay.
It's Public Officers Law, Section 18. It allows municipalities like the town of Brunswick to pass a local law providing for the defense and indemnification of their employees. And that's in part what this local law does. Section 18 by its terms applies to civil actions and proceedings. This local law adopts the coverage that's provided by Public Officers Law, Section 18, and it provides additional coverage, which the town board can do under its municipal home rule law powers. They're specifically permitted to provide additional defense and indemnification provisions other than what's in Section 18. And I'll point out to you, since you raised the issue of criminal, that Section 19 of the Public Officers Law provides for reimbursement of expenses incurred by state employees and officials in criminal matters where they're acquitted of the charges.
Okay.
So what this does is it confers the benefits of Section 18 of the Public Officers Law, and it adds a couple of incidental civil things like protection in state agencies, like if somebody gets brought in a state or federal agency like the Department of Labor, and they're brought in in their individual capacity, this extends the coverage to them. And in addition, it provides coverage in civil rights cases, like if somebody alleges that their civil rights have been violated by an individual official, not the town as a whole, then this would provide that coverage. So, in answer to your question, yes, there are provisions in state law which provide these very same benefits to state officers and employees. And in addition to that, we Officers Law 18, which specifically allows the town to adopt a local law like this. And under the municipal home rule powers of the town has the power to extend those benefits to additional areas. And that's what this local law has done.
Because I always thought that the town board were all covered, indemnified for matters like this, which I actually don't have a problem with. You're public servants, you put yourself out there to the community. I understand the purpose of that. But why wouldn't this be just normal housekeeping? I thought it was already in place.
I looked at our local laws from Brunswick, and we never officially, I say we, I mean the town. And, I've been town attorney for a while, I haven't been town attorney forever. So, at no point to date could I find a local law or a resolution conferring the benefits of Section 18 of the Public Officers Law. Now, don't misunderstand. The town has insurance and things like that, so,
Okay.
but this would be there as, in the law, it specifically says that this doesn't impair any rights or obligations under any insurance policy. So any protections the town has under its insurance policies would not be affected by this. This would be in addition.
It basically would cover in a criminal or civil matter, the legal fees.
Not
Essentially.
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know about the criminal, but the civil for sure. You
Okay.
mean the local law or?
The local law,
Well,
yes.
the local law would cover in criminal cases where the person is acquitted of a crime that they're charged with that was alleged to have been committed in the course of their public employment.
Okay.
And it would also cover people like in a situation where they were called as witnesses or something like that and had to get counsel, but they did not become the subject of a criminal proceeding, then that would cover them as well.
Okay,
So I misunderstood your question. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about what's in effect now.
Yeah. No, I was just making a statement that I thought it was already in effect
Well,
now, but I wanted to clarify
I
whether
hope
it would be covered
Well, I hope I did
as a criminal.
clarify it.
All right,
If I
that's
didn't-
fine. Is it retroactive from when the act took place?
It's
or
retroactive to pending proceedings. It's right in the law.
Say that again?
Anything which is pending at the time.
So it would be pending, okay, so it's basically anything, okay.
No, pending as of now. Like if a thing is all done, it wouldn't apply to that.
Okay. Okay, all right. That's it for now. I may speak after if somebody else has something. I'll wait to see. Thank you.
I'd like to say something. I don't really,
Right up here.
I don't really do my, as you all well know, but I'll say anything.
What is
You need your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sean McLean, 509 Brunswick Road, Eagle Mills, New York. What is behind this timing of this whole thing? It's very curious that Phil is being investigated by the FBI, and this is coming to the surface now. Does that have anything to do with that? Because, there's been unethical behavior on your guys' parts before with the whole bone steel thing. That's one thing. Unethical, not quite illegal. But this is totally illegal. This is the FBI doesn't screw around, okay? Is this retroactive for that? That's what we want to know, because that's what these people are here for.
It's retroactive to anything.
So it covers Phil for that? It covers Phil for that? Just say yes or no. Just say yes or no, does it cover Phil for that?
The law says what it says. Have you read the law?
I don't have to read the law. I'm asking you a specific question.
It applies to any proceeding which is pending as of now.
Okay, well, then it's curious that the timing is such. Wouldn't you say? Mighty curious? Very curious. Would you not admit, I'm not a lawyer? Would you not? You're a lawyer.
Do you know what I do here?
You're a lawyer.
I'm a town attorney. I was asked to...
Oh, okay, there are lots of lawyers. No, lots of lawyers, Mr. Truffy. Tons of them.
That's fine.
In this town.
I'm telling you that I was asked to draw local law, and I prepared it.
Curiously, the timing.
Well-
Curiously. Well, I know, that doesn't mean much. You're doing this.
I don't know how to answer.
So it just came up now at this time. The last time that Phil had to recuse himself was when he and Ken were making a dirty deal on Stanford's land. Now, he recuses himself again. Why? Why? Why is he recusing himself?
I don't state the reasons why.
Oh, so he just recused himself just for shits and giggles? Yes?
He recused himself, and that's all I need to know. I don't have to
Okay.
go into his mind.
I think we all know what's going on here. You guys think there's just a bunch of dumb people that live in Brunswick? You must. You can do unethical crap, and you can probably get away with it. But you're not going to get away with this. Because well, you can get away with it. You can vote tonight. You just said you could. So you go right ahead and vote tonight. But you know what? People of this town are not going to like it. They're going to find out about it. They're going to have a reason why they don't like it. It's because of the timing. You didn't do this last year before Phil was being investigated by the FBI. You did it now. Why? Only question I have.
Any other comments? Come on up. Name and address.
My name is Ed Wade. I live at 10 Meadowview Drive in Eagle Mills. My first question is, will the meeting minutes reflect the questions and the answers that were given?
Yep.
It's being recorded.
And those will be published, okay.
Also recorded. Yep.
And I have a question. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. For a grand jury proceeding, are those generally secret?
Grand jury proceedings are generally secret,
Yeah.
yes.
So this is my 35 years of auditing experience asking the question here. What if an employee comes to you and hands you an invoice from an attorney and said, oh, I was at the grand jury and it related to X, Y, or Z? How do you know, since the proceedings are secret, how do you know it was really that and it wasn't something else?
Once the
Particularly if they don't indict anyone. If someone's indicted, well, then it's an open thing. But if the grand jury says, no, we're not going to indict.
The law does provide for a procedure whereby my office would investigate and try to determine what the facts were and what occurred and make a recommendation to the town board. That's the way the local law is set.
Yeah, well, I saw that in there. But again, if it's secret, how do you know for certain?
Well, if the bottom line is, I guess if the grand jury does act, they usually, they'll issue a report,
Right.
or there'll be indictments.
Right. But if they don't, if they just decide there's not enough evidence,
If they don't, then it would be incumbent on my office to review it and try to determine whether it was in fact, did meet the criteria of what's set forth in the law, and I would make a recommendation to the town board.
okay. And my only other comment is I do agree the timing on this is kind of curious, if nothing else.
Once again, I'm here to answer
Yeah, I
any
understand
legal
that.
questions you might have, and I prepare things, draft things at the request of the town board.
I understand
So I
that.
can't address those kinds of comments.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Susan Haynes, 11 West Lane Road. I understand why in civil matters this is necessary. Can you tell me that if Sheldon Silver's legal fees were covered by us, the taxpayers?
No, because he was convicted.
But then his conviction has been overturned.
But-
And Joe Bruno, did we pay for his?
Not the
I
town
believe
of
you did.
Brunswick.
Not the town of Brunswick, but the state.
No, but did the state pay for
The
his?
state did under Section 19 of the Public Officers Law.
Because
which
they
would-
changed the law in between his first conviction and his second.
I really just don't understand why if someone gets themselves in criminal trouble, why we should foot the bill. I have a real problem with that. I have no problem with paying for civil because anybody can sue anybody. We're a very litigious society, so anybody can sue anybody, but I really do have a problem with footing the bill for criminal activity. I don't know if McDonough's was paid for. I just like more information about if this is just routinely, that taxpayers routinely paid for things like Ed McDonough's, Sheldon Silver's, Joe Bruno's, because that was millions of dollars, and my tax bill goes up because of somebody's legal fees for a criminal activity. I have a problem with that.
I understand what you're saying. Once again, I can't comment on specific cases beyond what I read in the newspaper. When I was given my comments with respect to Ms. Betzinger, I mentioned Section 19 of the Public Officers
Yeah.
Law, and that's the law that's used when state officers and employees. There's no analogous section in a state law, that's why a local law is required. And I can tell you when I was asked to do this and I did the research, lots of towns and other municipalities, cities, counties, villages, lots of them have done things like this, and, it's not rocket science. You look at what other places have done.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I just think that in New York State, my heritage is from Vermont, and in New York State, people seem to have an air of entitlement, and to feel so entitled that you get yourself in some kind of criminal hot water, that a grand jury brings an indictment against you, and then you expect the taxpayers to pay to defend you, is just beyond the pale to me. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes. Tom McGrath, Route 2, Brunswick. And I'm here to speak for myself. No one is speaking for me, other than me. One, as I discussed briefly outside before some of you arrived, I'd like to see right now you table this. Then I'd like to see, because you're all together, that you adopt a resolution stating that no public hearing on any matter of the town's business will come before the public before 7 o'clock in the evening. 5 o'clock on a business day is absolutely, ridiculous in this day and age. And, I don't think any one of you will do as I suggest. Mr. Chaffee, is there an urgency to adopt this local law too?
Again, I'm here to answer legal questions that you might have. The timing of things is at the discretion of the town board. I'm here to answer legal questions.
You're a councilman.
No, he's not.
I'm a town attorney.
He's the town attorney.
Right. And that's why I'm asking.
Because they asked me to be up here.
Right. And that's what I'm asking. I'm asking the question, okay?
Sorry.
Yeah. Also, this podium should be set up over there. You can hear, but now I'm hoarse. People behind me may not be able to hear me.
Well, it's going through the speakers.
Yeah, I know, Dan. And I'm also hard of hearing. But that's
It's going through the speakers.
an infirmity of age. Recently, and as recent as this week, in the Albany Times-Union was an article about the town of Milton in Saratoga County. They adopted this local law, opportunity, if you will, in the state law, and they're having great trouble. The supervisor has been charged with numerous civil, probably, issues. Now, incidentally, I'm 100% in favor of paying somebody's legal fees if they're accused and they didn't do it. But if somebody maliciously performs an act that hurts this town or any town, then it's their estate that should be in jeopardy, not that of the collective property owners in the town. And, and I see you, Gordy, you know that that's just common sense. So where is the get out in this document that Mr. Lewis has made copies for everyone to take home with them? But how many people have had an opportunity because something got posted, in the town hall for a meeting? Meeting notices should be posted in the thing that people read. The Advertiser and the Times-Union. The Troy Record is just waiting for somebody to buy the name. They have 2 employees, or maybe 3. So, if someone is complaining of something appearing to be conspiratorial, it does look that way. And the fact that it has no date, the effective date is when you adopt the local law. You can't adopt it as of 1968 or
No, by state law, no local law can take effect until it's filed with the Secretary of State. Oh, I'm sorry. No local law can take effect until it's actually filed in the Secretary of State's
Right.
office.
So I think that that addresses a question that was asked of. If anyone who is an employee of the town or an elected official, yes, elected officials and appointed officials are a little different than just an employee. Could be a consultant that comes in on occasion, then we find out that the consultant was in, cahoots with somebody before he came in. So, to answer Sean's question, no. Anything that happened yesterday, he can't collect, if that's who you're talking about.
Oh, no, that's not what he said, Tom.
But-
That's not what he said, Tom. He said that it would have a look back, and that Phil would be covered. That's
Anything
what he
which
was trying to tell me. That's what you were saying.
Clear that up,
I
will
was,
you?
I was stating what's in the law, sir.
Oh, yeah, you're legally.
Sean,
you tell me
Sean,
what's
he's
wrong.
got the
Yeah.
mic. Tom?
He asked me a question.
Yeah, I asked Mr.
I don't know why
Chauffeur,
you're up there.
excuse me, clear that up for me then.
Okay, the local law, I'll read it, and then you can ask me if you don't know what I'm saying. The local law, Section 3, applicability. The provisions of this local law shall apply to all actions and proceedings pending upon the effective date thereof or thereafter initiated. So anything which is pending as of now would fall within the ambit of a local law. And things that happen after the
Right.
local laws.
Could you define for us what
So-
pending means?
What, pending?
Yes.
Pending means it's ongoing right now.
All right, then here's another question then. You don't have to adopt that, do you, word for word? You can amend it and make it the local law number 2 of the town of Brunswick, using the body of that for the structure, but the language can be adjusted and customized for this town.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's what was done here. It was customized for this
I
town.
think that it isn't clear.
It was customized for the town. I was
Right.
asked, I drew the local law the way I was asked to draw it, which is what attorneys do,
No, but I
By
think,
the other members that are all...
by the town board.
I think it's,
Town board.
I think
Town
it's
has
incumbent on the town board members. They're
sorry,
using
I'm sorry, could you-
your counsel to the
Yes, I
to the
am.
board, I know that. And you make a recommendation to them, so I know that you're not voting on this to pass it, You can't vote to pass it. We have 4 people, 5, no, Bill can't pass or vote either. So there's only 4 people here who can vote.
That's correct.
And would you want something that somebody did, or Jim, Councilman Bhattaceri, Mr. Casal, old friend, to have a look back to see, to some, we don't know what, we don't know when, and for the taxpayers, not, the town board isn't assuming any responsibility. In passing this as it's written, you're passing the responsibility on to me. Because the insurance company isn't going to cover you on, say, a criminal action. No matter how low it goes down, misdemeanor, bottom of the pile, is still a criminal act. A civil act, different thing altogether, a judgment could be rendered against any one of it. So what are you getting this into? This guy just settled one case where he had the town write a check for $5,000, which was the first thing that the insurance company has to put up. He reimbursed the insurance company for $5,000. But as of the other day, according to the newspaper, they're refusing to make the record public of how much this woman was awarded and how it was done. Now, I can't believe you would go for this. You know, how can you say that I'm going to vote for something when there may be things hanging out there that you haven't even heard about yet? And all you have to do is tweak it. Make that effective today, next week, when you get your heads together, because if it's urgent, that means it's in the oven. The deed is done. It's not a mystery. So are you putting yourselves individually in any kind of jeopardy? A lawsuit from a citizen saying that you acted in bad faith with the taxpayers? I don't know. I mean, these were just things that rumbled through this Irish head of mine when I read about the hearing. For Mr. Chaffee, you seek his counsel. All you do is ask him, can we change it? And we can. Because you could actually write your own local law and not even quote the state code. You could take the state code and write it as a guide. You probably cut half of it out, and it would be very practical by the time you got done. And we wouldn't be paying you by the word. So, I think that this needs to be rethought. You know, there was a picture in the Record, perhaps, of the other day about the issue with Stewart's, the new store. And the reporter, who's probably a nice fella, quoted how this room was packed with 24 people. I've been in here when there were 100. And you know we've all been at meetings where there were multiples of hundreds. I could see that happening on this issue if you do it the way it's proposed, and then something comes up that has to be covered that was already underway. We know that the FBI has interviewed people in town, and on more matters than just the delivery of worthless fill. The delivery charges were more than the value of the fill, but there were none passed over to the recipient. So, think about this at least. And if there is no urgency, don't do it until you're covering us. It should, I have nothing against the law, as long as it's for future acts. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anybody else? We're having a public hearing, so hang on. Zoning board's meeting at 6.
Charles Haynes, 11 West Lane Road. If I'm understanding this correctly, and sometimes my head is a little thick so things don't get through, I have to ask again. In indemnifying people with regard to criminal proceedings, are we saying that if they are found guilty, we will still pay the bill?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
That's
We indemnify if they're found
innocent.
not innocent. Okay. That was something I had to clarify.
It's in the law.
Okay. This seems to be a really important issue for our entire town, and I'm wondering if this shouldn't be put on some sort of ballot for the town to make a decision. After all, it's our money. I think you ought to consider that very seriously.
Anybody else?
I'd like to say something, and I'll try to stay calm. I'm just speaking plain. I'm not trying to be like you. I know all you guys. What the hell? It's stupid. But I'll get up here. It is curious about the timing, and
you can throw around some legalese, I forgot you weren't a councilman, but, you know, if you guys do this, you realize that it's going to get out. You can't just do this under this Danny, come on, seriously, really? Don't do it, bud. And it's going to get out, and you guys are going to look like the bad guys, and you're not bad guys. So why would you want to do it? I mean, seriously, Jimmy, I'm not used to you were that big. Cut the crap. Don't do it, man. Just don't do it. I don't care what this guy tells you to do because he's a lawyer. There's 50 lawyers that live in Brunswick, and they'd probably tell you not to do it. That's my guess. I'll call Dave Little a little later on, or Pete Jones, and ask him what they think, you know, if you want another opinion on it. But do not do this under the dark of night. 5 o'clock in the evening, like Tom said, is no time to be taking any kind of final vote or decision on this. You better put it before the town, because I know a lot of people that didn't even know a damn thing about it. And they're not going to want you to bail out Phil. Phil got in his own goddamn trouble. Let him get it. He's got a big farm and lots of money. You let him get out of it, Pat. They'll drag all you guys down. You know? They'll drag all of you down if you do this. You know? It's not going to work. It's not going to work because people are going to... I got a big mouth. And you know people, I know a lot of people. And they're not all Democrats. So this isn't any partisan thing here. You know, you guys really think about it. That's all I'm saying. I like you guys. But damn it all, don't do this again, you know. You've made some mistakes in the past. You can rectify it by being real honest and open about this stuff. You know, every one of you guys. And I know you got it in you. So please, that's all I'm saying.
I didn't think about this at the beginning. It's no secret Phil and I have issues. I don't believe, I mean, you can run the meeting, you've had enough experience as an elected official that running a meeting here is cake. I mean, look at it. I don't think any elected official should be able to recuse themselves without stating what the conflict is. You know, has nothing to do with your ability to run a meeting, but I don't think that somebody can just say, well, we're going to have this meeting, but I can't go. He didn't get elected to not show up. Jimmy didn't get elected to not show up. When you were in office, you showed up. We had lots and lots of controversial things. I mean, remember meetings where we had people screaming, calling people names?
We've had meetings up at the town, or our high school there, because we
Right.
didn't have a place big enough.
We filled the auditorium.
I ran those meetings.
Me too.
No, I ran those meetings.
Oh, well, I was a victim at them. As the first chairman of the Master Plan Review Committee, when the idiot consultant put up on the screen a highway in Saratoga County, referring to it as being in Brunswick. And I had asked that we not hire this guy in the beginning. But, I mean, that's just, my opinion is that when you take the office, it's to serve. And there should be few occasions when you have a conflict that says, geez, I can't show up, I can't work on that. And when you're going to recuse yourself, you stand up at a public meeting, not a committee meeting, not some other meeting. You stand up at a public meeting and say, I have this issue on this subject, and therefore I should recuse myself. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I have one more.
Come on up.
You've heard from us.
Name again, so...
Oh, Ed Wade, 10 Meadowview Drive.
The only reason we do that, we're recording.
Yeah, I understand. You've heard from us, we've heard from Mr. Chaffee, we haven't heard anything from any of the council members. I'd like to hear what their opinions are on this.
Well, the public hearing is to hear your comments.
Yeah, but it would be nice if we got something back from them too, because we haven't really heard anything. I'd like to know what their opinions are, or which way they're leaning, or if we've made any impression on you tonight, or if you have any doubts or concerns, or you've taken into account what we said.
I
That's all.
understand. All right. Any other comments?
In making your decision.
Again, your name.
Kathy Betzinger, 1 Valley View Drive. in making your decision, think about, remember Gallivan? It cost the town, the taxpayers, $137,000 for that bad decision by an individual. So, it can add up. All of these things start to add up when you look at an individual who may have made bad decisions and may continue to make these bad decisions. So I think it makes sense what Tom had suggested, that you could make the law going forward. Or, I thought that it was always someone, if you're going to do this, that would have to be, once you get elected, then going forward. So upon getting elected, you're now covered and indemnified, by these things. So you could make it that way. That way you're not paying for someone's bad decisions. Does this cover someone's private business? Or,
It would only cover acts committed in the scope of your public employment.
okay. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none? Somebody wants to make a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Back to the order of the special meeting. Bill?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a suggestion for a private session. I have a couple legal questions I'd like to ask the town attorney.
Okay, wait.
That's permitted. It's not an executive session. It's a private session to ask legal questions of an attorney, which is your right.
So,
It would be a motion to go into a private
Perfect.
session.
somebody
Make
want
that
to-
motion.
Somebody second it?
I'll second.
Favor? Opposed?
Did anyone vote?
Aye.
Yeah, we'll be back,
You're going to be back.
because we got to close the special meeting.
You got to vote on the motion to go into private session.
Right. Those who want to go into private session?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We'll be back. Ready, Bill? Yep. No actions were taken. We had discussions with the attorney, and at this point, I'll open it up to the town board for further discussion.
You have this resolution?
Yep.
Yes.
I make a motion that we table this resolution, number 62.
Somebody wants to second that?
Second. I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Mark? Seconded by Dan? All those favor on tabling?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Got it, Bill?
Got it.
Any other comments from the board?
Yes.
From the board? I'm asking them.
Yeah, the
I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Make a
No.
motion to adjourn? Make a motion?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.